Greetings, Lefty Lucy and Guy Fawkes coming at you here. Before I get going today, whoops, covered up the screen again. Gotta watch that stuff. You know, them old people, gotta watch them. I just saw a great video on YouTube with Mark Elias and Michael Steele. And I know that Michael Steele has his MSNBC podcast, but Mark Elias does his own videos on podcasts and posts them on YouTube. But it was nice because they were kind of interviewing each other, and they're both so honest in so many ways. I really liked it, and I would recommend anybody to see it. Michael Steele tells what he would specifically do if he were the head of the Democratic Party at this point. And he did pull, I remember that, when he pulled the Republican Party out of all these losses and really turned it around with the same method that he was describing as what he would do with the Democratic Party. And this particular one is called, Michael Steele calls the White House a clown show. So if you look up Michael, if you search on YouTube for Mark Elias and Michael Steele, you should find that. One of the things too that I really wanted to mention, I'm always looking for little things I can do. And like I say, I don't really have transportation. I walk with a walker. My finances are, last Christmas, to entertain my friends, around Christmas time, I wrote a song, a blues song, Welcome to My Broke Ass Christmas Party. And that just pretty much describes my whole broke ass life. But I'm trying to get out there and do things I can do to save democracy and just to actually have a life and help other people and serve without any money. So that's one of the things. One of the things that I've been doing is because of transportation costs, I have Walmart Plus at a discounted rate. You can get a discounted rate on the membership if you're like a broke ass person, moi. And I get the groceries delivered, which is a free service. I do a little bit of a tip, which is a little more, just slightly more expensive than the public transportation I would use to get there. But I've noticed that quite a few of the drivers for Walmart Plus in my area appear to be of maybe a Hispanic heritage and don't have English as their first language at all. In fact, communicating with the people, it's like maybe a word or two of what I'm saying is getting through. So what I've started doing is making up an index card, and in it I put to go to if you have an iPhone, and I put for iPhone only, not Android, download the app Ice Block, and that will alert you that if there's ice in the area, whether it really helps a lot of people or not. And I know, it requires having an iPhone, which I do not have because they're so much more expensive. But I figure that with these cards, they probably have somebody in their life that can interpret that for them. And, who knows, maybe it could really help one person or, but I just feel like I have to keep trying. And I've got to get some signs out near a larger road over the weekend, which involves going down a really steep hill and coming back up that really steep hill. But hey, I got my walker and it's got a seat on it. So if I get to huffing and puffing too much up that hill, I can stop and take a rest. So, that's a good thing. And by the way, this crazy old lady, you get into this isolation thing. Any of you that that aren't old, and old and broke is a thing. I think the old and broke gets you a little more isolated. I mean, you can be old and have money and be isolated, but then it tends to be a little more of a choice, a deliberate choice. So, the isolation can get you know, kind of up there. I mean, I do make myself get out and do things, yada, yada, yada. But I find myself like swearing at the TV a lot and because I watch, mainly news items. So, by the way, has anybody seen the thing where Ghislaine Maxwell's roomie has specifically said, one of her roomies from when she was in Tallahassee, not in her country club place that Todd Blanche set up for Todd Blanche? What a moron. I mean, originally when I saw Todd Blanche, I thought it was at when he represented Trump last summer when he got the 34 convictions, and I could, and I kind of read up on him. He was kind of a legitimate lawyer. And I thought, well, I believe in everybody's entitled to a defense, even Trump. So, I was willing to cut him some slack, but not anymore. But anyways, the roomie in Tallahassee, and other people overheard the conversations where she was saying, Ghislaine Maxwell was saying that she had the dirt on Trump. And I'm still going with the thing of I wouldn't give a nickel for her life, really, and her life expectancy. No matter, I mean, she's going to testify before Congress, and I think that's going to be the thing that'll undo her, is testifying, because the stuff she's put out so far is such a bunch of bullshit lies. I mean, major disproven left and right. I mean, even, the airplane, the FAA logs for the Lolita Express, Epstein's plane, indicates how close or how much they were together. And there are pictures of the two of them all together, putting their heads together and, then she's acting like they weren't really that close and talking about how Trump was always such a gentleman around her. And I'm like, oh my God. I don't know. And I saw a statistic that really, really, really freaked me out. And take a second to really digest this in terms of where we are economically in this country. If you really think it's like a lot of hyperbole and people are just blowing smoke and it's really not that bad and the housing market's just in a downturn, here's a fact that'll freak you out. There currently are more home buyers now over the age of 70, than there are home buyers under the age of 35. Let that sink in for a minute. I mean, that's typically under 35 is when you buy your first home. And wealthy people are predominantly, or let's say way upper class and wealthy people would be predominantly, in my opinion, the only people that are really buying homes over 70. Maybe like, say, if my finances had been better and I was like selling my house instead of having it foreclosed upon, if I was selling my house and could afford to move into a condo, buy a condo, I guess that would be the case. However, I would have done that probably before I was 70, because if you're moving into a condo and you're old, you're probably thinking about stairs, and the stairs would have already been like, an issue that would have been speaking to me long before that. But anyways, I thought that was freaky. More home buyers now over the age of 70 than under the age of 35. And by the way, there is a website called Track APAC. Um, or you can just Google how to track APEC donations. It's AIPAC, and APAC is the Israeli organization, Support for Israel, that donates heavily to so many politicians and campaign people. And there are very, very, very few um, who don't really take a lot of money and have taken a lot of money from APAC. Some of the ones that are standing up against Trump, some of the politicians that are standing against Trump and speaking out very loudly are ones who've taken very little money. But I mean, I'm shocked to see, no, I can't even say his name without going, nutless Hakeem Jeffries, like millions of dollars he took from that gutless son of a bitch. I just, nope, 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 nope. Yeah, I can't handle it. Yeah, look that up. It's definitely worth checking out. Um, Next time I'll be a little more concise. It's been kind of eh, a rough week physically, but I'm here. But our weather's cooler, and I'm happy. I'm actually getting outside more, and that's a good thing. And um, I don't know, going into Labor Day weekend, and I hope everybody has fun out there and can keep up the good work, keep up the fight, and find some things to help you remember that you actually have a life and things other than the craziness going on in the country and troops in our cities. Woohoo! Signing off. See you later.